Welcome to ARCA's NEET Biology, and today we are going to discuss responses of organism to abiotic factors. We know that the seasons are being changing or the environment is being changing continuously. And this change in environment causes stressful condition to the organism. And now, what are the various methods how the organism is overcoming from that of seasonal variations are the things which we are going to discuss now. And now, coming to the natural phenomena which is being existing in the organisms is homeostasis. So this homeostasis is derived from the Greek word where it gives the meaning that same or steady. That means the environment which is present inside the body is always maintained steady with no change. Whatever the outside stressful conditions are there, the organism is adapting the same stable environment inside. So that stable environment which is being maintained by the organism is called as homeostasis. Now what is maintained stable in an organism means it may be the temperature or it may be the physiological values. Okay, the fluids which are being present in the body are always maintained at a constant rate. Now coming to the adaptations which are being seen or the response which is being seen to the change in this abiotic factor. So broadly, depending upon the change in temperature, we can classify the organisms into two types. They are regulators and conformers. Now, conformers are those who change their body environment with respect to their surroundings are called as conformers. Regulators are those who maintain a constant environment irrespective of their surroundings. Whatever is the outside environment, inside the body, they always maintain a stable environment. So they are called as regulators. Coming to conformers, they keep on changing their environment with respect to surrounding. If the surrounding environment is cold, they also change their internal environment to cold or to hot. So this subsequent changing of temperature with respect to surroundings, we call them as conformers. And now, if you look over the graph which is being explained here, so in the graph we can see the three levels. That is, the first one is always stable with respect to the external environment. Whatever the external environment it is, whether it is of less or it is increasing, the inside environment of the organism is always stable. So we can call these organisms as regulators. Now if you look the other one, this, it is continuously changing with that of increase in the surrounding environment. If the surrounding environment is changing, here we can observe the internal environment of the organism is also changing. So these organisms are called as conformers. Now we can see here the other one which we call it as partial regulators. So here what the mechanism we can observe is these are the organisms who are changing their internal environment with that of external environment only to certain extent. After that, though there is increase in the external environment or change in the external environment, the internal environment is always maintained stable. So such organisms we can call it as partial regulators or partial conformers. Now what is the best example for regulators, conformers and partial regulators means? For regulators, the best example is human beings. So whatever the surrounding environment, we always have a constant temperature of 37 degrees centigrade. Now you might be asking me how? Okay, now we have the various seasons like summer as well as winter. In summer, the outside environment is hot. So what are the changes which the body is maintaining to maintain a constant temperature is when there is outside extreme hot climate, then our body produces sweat with where this sweat cools the body of the humans, and again it maintains a constant temperature of 37 degrees centigrade. Now you take the winter season. In winter season, the external environment is very cold, whereas inside our body we have 37 degrees centigrade. Now how the constancy is being maintained means we produce profuse shivering. Okay. So when we shiver, it is a natural exercise which is happening to the body, and this exercise produces heat. So the heat level in the body is also produced. Okay, so again the constancy of temperature, that is 37 degrees centigrade, is again maintained in the body. Now what about partial regulator means? The best example we can take here is the desert sheep, that is camel. Okay, now what happens to the camel means the camel changes its temperature with respect to surroundings only up to certain extent. And thereafter, though there is change in the temperature outside, the body, internal body maintains constant temperature. So such type of organisms, we can call them as partial regulators. Best example is camels. And for conformers, the example is amphibians, fishes, or the cold-blooded organisms we can take where there is no constancy of temperature, internal environment. Their environment changes with respect to surroundings. That is the difference between cold-blooded animals and warm-blooded animals. Warm-blooded animals maintain constant internal environment or homeostasis. Cold-blooded or poikilothermic cannot maintain constant temperature inside the body. Their environment, their internal environment changes with that of surroundings. So that is the difference between cold-blooded animals as well as warm-blooded animals. Okay. And now the next response to abiotic factor, we can notice it as migration. Now what do you mean by migration means? Moving of organism from one place to another place when the conditions are not favorable. So what do you mean by this? So best example is when we get a hot summer, then we feel like going to cold regions, like the Manali or some other cool regions we select, and we usually go there. Or when there is extreme hot, we just switch on our ACs and we maintain a constancy because we are not able to tolerate that increase in temperature. Now what happens to the other organisms when the conditions are changing means they just go away from one place to another place. So the best example we can see here is the migratory birds. Okay, the Siberian crane we can see. Okay, in the Siberia, when there is onset of winter, usually these birds will be moving from that Siberia to India. So many of the sanctuaries like Bharatpura Sanctuary, Colorado National Park, we can see these migratory birds coming in that a stressful condition to India. When this season is over, again they return go back to their native place. Such a phenomena which is being shown by organism with respect to change in environment, we can call it as migration. Moving from one place to another place. Okay, and the next one is suspending life activities. Suspend means stopping. What it is stopping means the further growth in the organism or further process in the organism is being stopped for certain period, either by hibernation or by evacuation. Okay, suspend means when the it is stopping due to harsh environmental conditions. Examples for this we can say it as the polar bears or frogs. Okay, what they do is when the conditions are not favorable, they enter either into summer sleep, that is evacuation, or winter sleep, that is hibernation. And next other abiotic factor is diapause. So this is also the natural phenomena which we can see in the organisms due to adverse environmental conditions. And this we can observe in insects, parasites as well as snail and other zooplankton. Certain period of development is being passed. When the conditions are again coming into the favorable, again they induce the further growth. Such phenomena we can call it as diapause. Okay, and if you particularly observe in the seeds, okay, seeds usually germinate during the germination period. Okay, so and when the conditions are not favorable, they go into dormancy stage. When the conditions are again coming into favorable, they just germinate. So these are the responses which are being given by the organisms due to abiotic factors. So this topic is being made simple and understanding. If you like this, share with the people, other people who are in need. Okay, like, share and subscribe. This is Pravalika signing off.